Rome, the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. An empire built on conquest, wealth, and slavery. But from the blood-soaked sands of the gladiatorial arena, one man rose against it. A man who would challenge the legions, defy the Senate, and nearly bring mighty Rome to its knees. His name was Spartacus, the rebel gladiator. Long before the name Spartacus shook the Roman world, he was just a soldier of Thrace, a rugged land north of Greece, where warriors were raised to be fierce and unyielding. Born around 111 BCE, Spartacus likely served as an auxiliary in the Roman army. Strong, disciplined, and skilled in combat, he was no stranger to the brutality of war. But at some point he deserted. The reasons remain shrouded in mystery. Perhaps it was Rome's exploitation of Thracian tribes, perhaps broken promises of land or pay. Whatever the cause, his defiance was punished with chains. Captured, enslaved, and stripped of his freedom, he was sold into the brutal world of gladiators. Capua, 73 BCE. A massive training school run by the ruthless lanista Lentulus Batiatus. Inside its walls, hundreds of slaves were trained like beasts to fight and die for Rome's entertainment. Here, Spartacus found himself among men from all corners of the empire. Gauls, Thracians, Africans, Greeks. They were branded, beaten, and trained to kill. Their weapons were not tools of honor, but shackles of survival. Yet even here, Spartacus's leadership shone. He was not merely a fighter, he was a man others looked to, a spark waiting to ignite. Among the gladiators, he found allies. Crassus, a towering Gaul with unmatched strength, Oenomaus, a seasoned warrior, and Castus and Gannicus, fierce fighters who would become leaders in their own right. The arena was meant to break men. Instead, it forged brotherhood. And within those walls, a plan was born. In the spring of 73 BCE, about 200 gladiators conspired to break free. Armed only with kitchen knives and makeshift weapons, they planned to fight their way out of Capua. But betrayal lurked among them. Their plot was exposed, forcing them to act prematurely. Only 74 gladiators managed to seize the moment. They stormed the kitchens, grabbed cleavers and spits, and fought their way past guards. Bursting into the open countryside, they killed their captors and fled into the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. Here, armed with whatever they could steal, Spartacus and his band became more than runaway slaves. They became rebels men with nothing to lose and freedom to gain. At first, Rome laughed. A handful of slaves hiding in the hills? Surely they would be crushed. The Senate dispatched a militia to deal with them. But Spartacus was no ordinary leader. Using cunning and guerrilla tactics, he ambushed Roman forces, seizing their weapons and armor. His small band swelled as more slaves escaped villas and farms to join him. In weeks, his army grew from dozens to hundreds, then thousands. Spartacus drilled them not as a mob, but as soldiers. Discipline returned to him from his days in the Roman army. He organized units, trained them in formations, and prepared them for war. Soon, his force numbered 70,000 slaves, deserters, and outcasts united under one cause: freedom. The rebellion spread like wildfire across Italy. Villas burned, slaves rose, and Roman elites trembled. The Senate, alarmed, sent praetors with seasoned legions to crush the uprising. Yet time and again, Spartacus outmaneuvered them. At Vesuvius, he tricked the Romans by lowering his men down the cliffs with vines, attacking from behind and slaughtering the unsuspecting forces. At every turn, Spartacus used wit against overwhelming numbers. With each victory, more flocked to his banner. His army swelled beyond 100,000. He trained them not only to fight, but to dream of marching north, crossing the Alps, and returning home as free men and women. But not all shared his vision. Crassus, the fierce Gaul, sought blood and plunder rather than escape. Many rebels preferred to revel in Rome's downfall rather than flee. This division would haunt the rebellion. By now, Rome could no longer ignore Spartacus. The rebellion had humiliated its generals and shaken its pride. The Senate granted command to Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. Ambitious and ruthless, Crassus raised 6 legions and vowed to end the uprising once and for all. Crassus restored discipline with brutal methods. Soldiers who faltered were executed by decimation. Every 10th man put to death. Fear and order marched side by side. Order. Meanwhile, Spartacus sought to cross into Sicily. He struck a deal with Cilician pirates to ferry his army across the strait. But the pirates betrayed him, taking payment and abandoning the rebels. Spartacus was trapped in Italy. Crassus moved swiftly, building massive fortifications across southern Italy, hemming Spartacus in. Yet once again, Spartacus broke through, defeating Roman forces and marching north. But fate had turned. In 71 BCE, near the river Silaris in southern Italy, Spartacus faced his final battle. His army, once over 100,000 strong, had dwindled through desertion, betrayal, and endless conflict. Still, tens of thousands remained ready to fight to the death. Spartacus, wounded yet unbroken, is said to have killed his own horse before the battle, declaring he would either walk out victorious or die like his men. With fire in his eyes, he led the charge himself, cutting through Roman lines in search of Crassus. The battle was apocalyptic. Rebels fought with desperation, women and children among them. Spartacus himself cut down legionaries left and right, his strength legendary in those final hours. But numbers told. Encircled, the rebels were slaughtered. Spartacus fell, his body never found. In Rome's vengeance, 6,000 captured rebels were crucified along the Appian Way, their bodies lining the road for miles, a grim warning of Rome's might. Spartacus was gone, but his name lived on. To Rome, he was a criminal, a traitor. To slaves, he was a hero. To history, he became a symbol of resistance, the man who dared defy the greatest empire on earth. His story has echoed for over 2,000 years, from Karl Marx hailing him as a true revolutionary, to modern movements seeing him as a beacon of freedom. Spartacus became more than a gladiator. He became a legend. Rome crucified his body but could not kill his spirit. Spartacus remains the gladiator who defied an empire and in doing so gave the world a timeless reminder. Even the mightiest empires can tremble before the will of the free. His rebellion, though crushed, planted seeds of defiance. It showed that even the oppressed could rise up. This message resonated through ages. From literature to film, Spartacus's tale inspires. He embodies the fight against injustice. His name evokes courage and sacrifice. He stands as a universal symbol for the downtrodden. His struggle transcends time and place. Spartacus remains an eternal flame of hope.